Let's go. Let's go. Let's go. Let's go, man. Hunt the ball. Let's go, family on 3. 1, 2, 3, family.
Hello, football family. Welcome into Huddle It Up Films, Week 17. Here we are. Rams coming to town from the West Coast versus the Ravens. Ravens playoff hopes on the line. Rams, meanwhile, battling for seeding. And here to talk about it, we're missing our man Jake again, but we do have Garnett as usual and Alec Polianis. Ravens recap. Did I pronounce that correctly, Alec? Was that close?
It was pretty close, yeah. Polianis, yeah, it's pretty good.
Polianis, there you go. Garnett, how you feeling, my friend? What's going on over there?
Yeah, man, I'm just living the dream, man. And if I was at the car, I'll be able to let go of the wheel because I know God's got it, man. Jesus, take the wheel for this team, man.
I'd say at this point, if it wasn't already, it's definitely in some divine intervention necessary in this season because, man, on paper, some of the numbers that we're going to read tonight don't look good for the Ravens. There's going to have to be some things that go their way. They're going to have to outplay the Rams to beat the Rams. They can't just play an even game. So, first of all, I just wanted to ask, Garnett, we'll start with you. How are you feeling about the state of the Ravens right now overall? And are there any factors in this game you could see working in the Ravens' favor?
All right.
I don't like the answer already, man.
Man. So you guys are familiar with Captain America, obviously the Avengers and all those things. So there's this one thing that Captain America says after getting his ass whooped or he fight in a fight, and he's like damn near dead. And he stands up and he's like, I can keep on doing this all day. And basically, we can't say that. It's one of those things we're literally at our limit and beyond. We're beyond our limit, to be honest with you. And this is it's okay. It's one of those things where this is where I'm at in my life. It's like if we win, I'm all about it. If we lose, it's okay. It's not the end of the world, man. We live and fight another day. Well, obviously next year. So that's where I'm at, man. It's one of the things where usually I'm not really emotionally invested a lot like I used to be in the team, but I love the team, but it's not like, damn, I can't believe we lost type of thing. But when you know the situation already, it's like a softening blow. So yeah, man, it's
okay.
That's where I'm at.
Alec, are you feeling much the same way, or you think there's still a realistic chance here the Ravens can win this game, win next week? And if they do that, Alec, in my opinion, they will be a playoff team. Like something else is going to go wrong. It doesn't take a miracle for the Ravens to get in. They have to win 2 games, and this one this week is especially tough.
Yeah, they do need to basically win both these games. There are scenarios if we lose this game to still sneak into the playoffs, but it's not really the way you want to do it. Obviously, the nice thing is the Ravens are a lot healthier than they were last week. A lot of guys are off COVID now. I think the only guy left is Josh Oliver, and you have other guys returning from injury. We didn't really lose anyone new. There are a couple maybe questionable guys who aren't practicing, but we'll see how it shakes out. But overall, the team's like on the upswing relative to where they were. I'm feeling good about them this week. I think they're definitely past the victory against a very tough Rams team, but kind of similar to Garnett. Like if we lose this game, it's not going to be the end of the world. I don't think it's very realistic for the Ravens to get into the playoffs, win out, and win the Super Bowl, which is always kind of the end goal. And, maybe we want to kind of stop the bleeding in a way and protect some draft capital. I know this team has no quit. I don't want them to tank to do that, but I could definitely see them just naturally losing, right? And not making the playoffs. So I guess what I'm saying is the Ravens will do their thing. I'm confident. However it goes will be fine for the team, and we'll just see what happens.
Okay. Well, hey, I'm a week at a time guy. I'm just looking at this game. I'm hoping that we win this game. I'm not in the tank mindset. That's just, I don't think that there's a huge difference among the talent. Guys slip through the cracks. You just have to have the right guys on your radar for the draft. So if it was like, hey, this is the difference between the first pick and you get the quarterback of the future, or the 5th pick and you just get a player, then maybe I'd say, all right, I hope we lose and get the first pick. But we're not in a situation like that. So I hope the Ravens win. Hope they win next week, especially since it's Roethlisberger's possibly last game at M&T. and get into the playoffs. Maybe we see the Titans again. That might be fun. Not that I have high expectations, but I just want to take it week per week. And I wanted to mention that the Rams have had their issues with COVID because as Ravens fans, we're so wrapped up in all just like Garnett was saying, all the stuff that's happened to us from COVID to injuries. But prior to last week, the Rams had 30 players on their COVID list, and they actually had their game bumped back to Tuesday night, if you can remember that. So they were playing on a short week this week. They're coming off the COVID. Another argument I want to make for the Ravens in their favor in this game is this is also the second straight 1 o'clock game for the Los Angeles Rams. So they're going to be playing at 10 a.m. West Coast time for the second straight week on the road. I think it's 3 out of 4 games on the road for the Rams overall. It's supposed to be not cold, but wet in Baltimore, probably going to be windy, a little bit nasty out there, temperatures in the 40s. Again, when I watched the Rams and I think it was the 49ers that came to town, it looked like a completely different scene than what we see here out east in Pittsburgh and Cleveland and Baltimore and Cincinnati with this outdoor and mud and sloppy. It looked like a flag football. It looked more like flag football than NFL football. So you get that style of team to come to town. Obviously, though, Alec, they're just super talented team in the Rams.
Oh, for sure. I mean, lots of star power on all sides. They accomplished that by trading away all their draft capital. So basically the antithesis of the Ravens as far as their team building perspective. But it seems to be working out pretty darn well for them, doing well in their division, making good strides.
Well, we'll see. I mean, it only works out if you win the Super Bowl. Because if you don't win the Super Bowl, then you're pretty much handcuffed yourself for the next 3 years. And then you'd rather be a team like the Ravens, the way they do business in that sense, where you're competitive every year, going for the playoffs every year instead of some grand build-up that may or may not work. So, but yeah, the Rams are going for it, Garnett. I mean, traded for Von Miller. I mean, this is a team that 2021 into 22 that's their window, man.
Yeah, like they're taking the most interesting route. I was listening to a podcast, or our fellow friend Ken McCusick. He had a Ram guy on there, and he made a lot of great points that I was already thinking. It's just an interesting way of going for something that has never been done before, and it's a way. It's you can look at it in so many different ways, but I know a lot of people are so scared of that because it's like one of those things where you're selling the future. But at the same time, though, you have the future. So it's like one of those things how it's about looking at it in a different perspective, I guess. So it's an interesting way. Like perfect example, I say if you have generational talent, also known as force multipliers. So the guys that you put around them that are just say average, make them look above average, and then if they go out and go get a big deal, a new, get off the rookie deal or wherever they go, you're basically getting, those comp picks. So it's like it's an interesting way they're doing it, and I see it. And I'm not saying Baltimore should do it, but I'm saying it's one of those things where I respect it to a.
It's another way to skin the cat. Like Baltimore leads the league in comp picks, so it's not like this formula is a magical creator of comp picks. I mean, the way the Ravens do it is the standard. But I'm a big fan, Garnett, of in-season trades to make when things are going right. Because say what if the Ravens went out and were able to sign one player? I don't know. You could pick a player this year, put him on the team. Like the Ravens went for it, and then look what happened this year. You lose Dobbins, Edwards, Peters. Things don't go your way. Lamar's hurt. Blah blah blah. And guess what? You didn't do nothing but severely hinder the next 2 or 3 years. So, interesting philosophy though there in Los Angeles, where they just basically forfeited their draft. To go for broke. And they have Matt Stafford. They have Von Miller. Of course, they have Jalen Ramsey and Aaron Donald and Cooper Kupp, who's going for the first triple crown of wide receivers since Steve Smith in 2005. So most catches, most yards, most touchdowns. That's what Cooper Kupp is on pace for. And he's going to be a heck of a test. So let's jump into it, fellas, because we have a lot to get into. Let's start when the Ravens have the ball on the lines of scrimmage. Huge. I think I can speak for all three of us here. This is a huge advantage for the Rams. Even if the Ravens were healthy, this is a matchup where the Rams are pretty much as good here as any other team. Now, a note for the Los Angeles Rams, their nose tackle, big guy, good player, Greg Gaines, has not practiced this week. So we'll see if they lose their nose tackle. But even without him, they have good depth there. You're talking about, of course, Aaron Donald and Ashawn Robinson at the tackles. You're going to have Von Miller, Leonard Floyd coming off the edges. Serious mismatch for the Rams. So let's forget about like where the Rams have the advantage. Let's talk about how we plan to combat this. Is it by the quick passing game? Is it by running? Is it what do you have? What is your plan, Garnett, for trying to just minimize the damage that the Rams defensive line can do?
Hey, it's all about the QP game, aka the quick passing, man. I'm all about that. I'm not even say me, we have
Thank
been
you.
all about that since like day one, day one, man. And that's the thing about it. Like you just said those names, so I'm not even gonna say those names again. So that should just tell you where our mind frame should be. I know we're gonna go into the statistical categories and where they rank and all those things, but I think just saying those names alone tell you what we shouldn't be trying to do with this bruised and battered offensive line, and with these the running backs that we have. It's just me running into a brick wall repeatedly is it's insanity. So
So,
yeah.
yeah, so Alec, I'm sure like that's not a foreign idea to you. The quick passing game obviously can work. So I want to ask you about the running game. The last time the Rams and the Ravens played, notoriously the Ravens shut down Aaron Donald, and they didn't do it by any kind of conventional matter. It was the Greg Roman, Lamar Jackson scheme breakout 2019. We hit Donald from this way, hit Donald from that way, double team Donald. All of a sudden, Donald's fighting hard, and we leave him alone, and the ball's over there. It's just kind of confusing him, kind of like what we did with Chris Jones earlier in the year to make him a non-factor. So, I guess what I'm asking is, what are the chances that Greg Roman himself, I mean, this is what he's good at, Alec, can just design a scheme to try to take away at least the man in the middle, which is Aaron Donald, aside from the monsters you have at the edge rushers, but just Aaron Donald himself, Alec, running game.
I don't think you can do it with the running game. The running game, like our running game is pretty poor at this moment, and we might not have the Lamar Jackson factor. And if we do, his mobility looks very compromised. If you have Huntley, I mean, that's good in the scramble drill, but I don't think it's great at the mesh point. Again, it's just this running game is not good. The Rams, on the other hand, have an excellent containment of the run, and I think it's going to be a good way to lose if we try to run a lot. I really think they should abandon it pretty darn early and just try to pass on them and see if they can make it work that way, because I have very little confidence in any positive plays for the Ravens running game. And I think it's worth pointing out the Rams right now are averaging more yards per play than any other team in the league. However, the 49ers actually get more yards running the ball per play and passing the ball per play. But the reason the Rams are higher is because they pass 60% of the time compared to the 49ers, who do only 43% or 53% pass. So they're able to get that larger number. And we know for a long time that the pass game is a little bit more advantageous from an analytics perspective. And I think you also just look at the team and where they're at. I think it's really hard pressed for the Ravens to run outside of just situations where it's advantageous. Maybe 2nd and 1, you maybe try it. But even then, we've talked about before, on 2nd and short, it's a great opportunity to pass the ball.
Take a shot.
And then see maybe on 3rd down you run. So maybe in short yard situations, we consider it. But even then, that you might I don't know.
All right, Alec. Well, look,
kind of give it away. I don't know.
I'm going to come back to you.
Running attack. It's not a good running attack. Don't feel confident.
I'm going to come right back to you, Alec. Yeah. I just want to read the numbers real quick. The Ravens run attack is 6th in the league, but of course that is quarterback driven. The running backs haven't been effective all year. 4.6 yards per carry, but the run defense of the Rams is 3rd in the league, allowing only 3.8 yards per carry. And especially when you consider some of the powerhouses in their division who can just rack off, even the passing teams, when they hand it off, they have a higher average because, they're playing the defense is playing the pass. It's 3rd and 18, draw play, 8 yards, yada, 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 a lot of scenarios. So Alec, I'm going right back to you, man. I wanted to cut you off just to sneak in the numbers so we can put them on the screen.
Yeah.
But yeah, the Ravens run offense. Go ahead and just finish up. And Garnett, can you just pick up on the Ravens run game versus the Rams run D right after him, please?
Absolutely.
Yeah, I mean, my big thing right now is that the Ravens are going to, if they're going to get running yards, I'm pretty confident it's going to be from broken plays by the quarterback, either Huntley or Lamar. It's not going to be by traditional running plays. If they have a couple where they rumble for 8 or 9 yards, I'll be very impressed, but I don't expect it. And I don't think we have much reason to expect it. Obviously, Ricard's been battling injury. Not clear if he's going to be playing. I really hope that he can play. But I mean, without him, Boyle has been like a little bit hit or miss here and there. I just don't have much confidence in our ability to run the ball.
Yeah, I'm right there with them. I feel like if it's more RPO driven in a spread concept, I think we would have a little bit more success than what we are talking about right now. But I think just the way we need to like literally be able to run the ball is like I said in a spread or a empty setting for Huntley to make his decisions on when to pull the ball and just run. It should be, he's a natural gifted athlete. So we just need to put him in a scenario where, hey, your first read's not there, you're checked down, you take it and you go. And I think that's like the best success I think we can have against them. I get a second and 1 or something. I think that we might be able to, go up the middle depending on the nose tackle that they have.
Yeah, he's hurting, right?
Yes, yeah. So it's one of the things where situation dictates, but for a majority of the thing or the time, like what you said, Jason, when it came to just making, about the 2019, we put people in brain blending situations to where is the ball going? So maybe the jet sweep a couple of times with whoever. I know Duvernay has an ankle problem, so just find ways to get the ball out quick, or just find creative ways to do it, because that 2019 way is not going to work as we know right now. So it's just got to be creative with the way how we're going to get the ball out or get the ball distributed for the run game.
Yeah, I'm with you guys. I see most of our yards in this game coming from the quarterback, one way or the other. Whether it's like Alex said on the scrambles, or like you're saying, Garnett, like hit them with some RPOs, try to freeze, Von Miller or Floyd, and just try to play a numbers game, because straight up talent wise at this point, it's going to be hard to run the ball consistently. And considering what's happened on the other side of the ball with this Rams offense versus our secondary that's vulnerable. I want to throw the ball as much as we can. So in this passing game of the Ravens offense is averaging 7.2 yards per attempt. That's down to 14th in the league. It continues to go down without Lamar Jackson in the lineup. The Rams pass defense, pretty darn good. 12th in the league, 7.0 yards per pass. Of course, they defend the pass a lot out there in the NFC West. So I'm going to give my thing first and let you go, Garnett. I started to say it. I feel like we need to pass the ball a lot. Like I didn't want to give it away in the segment about the run game, and you guys couldn't stay away from it either. It just seems obvious to me too. Like we're going to have to use the quick passing game. Lamar Jackson was at practice Wednesday, I should mention. Looked really worrisome, was limping around. If you haven't seen it, trust all three of us. I'm sure I can speak for these guys. He wasn't right, man. Like it was just ugly. So without trying to go into most detail, I think we can assume that Tyler Huntley, if he's cleared, is going to be able to play. I believe he's back from COVID, so he should be your quarterback. Even with Tyler, though, guys, the quick passing game that we saw emerge last week with James Prochet, I'm sure Hollywood is going to get involved with the bubble screens and how often creatively we try to get him the ball every game. And then, of course, we need Rashad Bateman to come up big in this game. Jalen Ramsey is a heck of a corner, obviously one of the best in the game. Darius Williams is an underrated player, but he is like 5'9". He reminds you a little bit of Tavon and all over, really, Alec. I don't know if you've ever seen this guy up close, but he's undersized, but plays way bigger than his size, and he gets his head around and can find the ball and will jump and make a play on it, you know what I mean, against a taller receiver. But once you get past those two guys, when you start talking about safeties, when you start talking about their third cornerback, Dante Dayon, okay, you know what I mean? trust me with Prochet. Let's see if Prochet can make a move on him. Taylor Rapp, one of their starting safety, one of their better players, did not practice so far this week. So he's going to be asked to match up. Man, the Ravens have got to take advantage here. Alec, go ahead. I'm sorry. I got a little carried away there, buddy.
Hey, man, you're all good. Dude, you're nailing it around the head. So here's the thing. Last week, the Rams played the Vikings, and the DFS bros, looking at the numbers, were like, the slot receiver can kill against the Rams because, like, exactly what you said, that's where the drop-off is. So if we go into 3, 4, 5 wide sets, quick passing game, make them, match up, good luck. I think it could be GG. Like, the Ravens, for the love of God, don't be egotistical. Don't try to run. Don't try to do these, like, I don't know, idealistic things. Just take advantage of their weaknesses. You just had your asses handed to you by the Bengals by doing exactly that to you. Please do it against them. You've got the people. You got the players. You can do it.
They got it. Garnett.
They can get them. This is how they get them. They just have to do it.
Garnett, man.
Stop zigging. Stop. Don't zig.
Did Alec find the right program to come on to, Garnett? I think he did. I think Alec has found his people here on the Huddle It Up Films preview show, starring Alec now. It's starring Alec, Garnett. Sorry about that, man. He just stole the show, bro.
Oh, man.
Yeah, man. Go ahead, Garnett. What do you have to say this week about the quick passing game? And I know where you're going, brother. Get me fired up.
I'm just saying, like, this is the time where we finally zag. We've been zigging since 2019. I think we finally freaking zag, man. Just like
you
literally,
think it showed itself enough the last few weeks that we have to, right?
Oh hell yeah, man! Like it's there. It's one of those things where early in the season we saw, and I think we all lost our mind when Prochet went off in Denver, right? And then following week, the Colts, everybody was still getting involved. Obviously, that insane game, and then fast forward to like last week, we see it again. So it's like one of those things where that's 3 times in a row where we've seen mad success for multiple receivers. I know it's crazy that Tylan Wallace got his way. He got his first catch last game or the game before.
The game before, but I think it was he had another one last week, right?
Yeah. It took his name getting messed up on the back of the jersey for him to get the ball, but it's okay. I love it. It's one of the things where, like, when you look at this receiving core, when the last time you said, like, oh my God, I feel like we keep on saying this every week, man. When the last time you seen a receiving core in Baltimore be this deep and strong, man? It's ridiculous. We're not saying they're all pro talented right now, but it's one of those things where if you compare the receiving core like you're doing, Jason, when you read off all the stats and the injuries and all those things, compare our receiving core to their corners and their secondary, it's like, which one are you? I understand Jalen Ramsey is over here, so
right.
No disrespect to him, but
no, sir.
But the thing about with Jalen Ramsey, he's probably going to be on Mark Andrews. So basically, you're like literally going to win that. I'm not saying that battle between them, but like overall, it's winning. You know what I mean? Like probability of you being successful is a lot higher than anything. So I just it will blow my mind if we don't take advantage of that. And that goes back to the coaching, man. Like how Alex said, man, stubborn ways. Like don't zig, you zag. Like it's that simple. Okay.
Yeah, I just want to keep pouring it on here too because I looked at the Vikings game, the Rams Vikings game, to preview for this show. And I noticed how spread out the ball was there. Now, of course, Justin Jefferson got his, but you had KJ Osborne with 5 targets. You had Thielen get his. You had the tight end get involved. You had guys that barely pop up on the box score getting catches. So that's what they did to the Rams, and they competed with the LA Rams. We know that Vikings team from this year. It's a good team, but it's definitely easy to move the ball on them, yada, yada, yada. I don't see any reason why if the Vikings can put the pressure on them at home that we can't. A lot of that is going to have to do with how our defense performs. But on offense, I think that it's important just to realize that we're not punting on time of possession if we choose to go the route of just overdoing it with the passing game. Because you know how the easiest way to lose time possession is, right? Go 3 and out. Go 3 and out, right?
Damn right.
So Move the chains, man. If we can have these 8-9 play drives with these short passes, move the chains a couple of times, get in the range, try to draw them up, take their shot. If they're missing Taylor Rapp, that is a very important player in the back end. You talk about communication and all that stuff getting messed up. Hollywood or Bateman, can get deep on them. But yeah, it should be an interesting matchup. Alec, want to get you lastly. What's your thought on Garnett mentioned Jalen Ramsey covering Andrews? Do you think that's the route that they go? Or at least for most of the game?
I kind of hope they do because Mark Andrews is open even when he's not, in my opinion. And I don't think that's actually the best way of using Ramsey if I were them. I think they're going to throw to Mark Andrews even if Ramsey's there. And I think Mark Andrews is still going to come down with the ball is what I'm getting at. So you can use Ramsey there, but I don't think it scares the Ravens because Mark Andrews is at another level right now, and I think he could just use his body and skill to get around it. I don't know. They asked Mark Andrews if he thought that he'd get covered by him, and he's like they do a couple different things, so I'm not sure. We'll just react to it when we see it, and I think that's right. I mean, I think honestly, if I know Huntley's been missing Marquise Brown on the deep balls. But I think if they don't respect Marquise Brown and Bateman, one of those two is going to get them. And then, of course, you got Prochet and Wallace and maybe Duvernay. I think Watkins is basically done seeing playing time at this point. So, yeah, I mean, someone's going to get Ramsey can cover one guy. He can't cover two. Right? Unless we're fools and run in the same direction like we do sometimes. But as long as the route concepts are decent, he can only cover one guy. And we can throw more than one guy in the pass routes. I think that's what we're asking, right?
Yeah, nobody runs into each other quite like our receivers, though. It could be anybody, too. It could be any combination of guys. Not a lot of common denominators. So, Garnett, I'll just give you one last chance. Anything else you want to say on offense on this team?
Absolutely. I just think Tyler Huntley, if we afford him the more, just more opportunities to just take more deep shots. What I mean by that, I understand he takes these shots every game, but what I mean more than one or two deep shots. It's one of the things where I understand he gets minimal amount of practice time to build a connection with these receivers. So it's one of those things where just allow him to take multiple deep shots in the game. If he gets it, fine. I mean, if he doesn't get it, fine. But the fact that literally he was this close from hitting Hollywood last week. But it's one of the things where it just takes timing and understanding of, the feel, get a nice feel for the game. So, I just say, I understand, we're just, fans that love this team to death. But we wish that we just give him a little bit more opportunity. A couple more. That's if you give him a couple more, third time's a charm, probably,
Garnett, you know what, Alec? Go ahead, Alec.
Yeah, no, here's the thing, man. This is a home game. It's a playoff game, in my opinion. I think people are going to be rowdy. At least I plan on being rowdy, right? The boys are going to be there. The Ravens recap boys are going to be there. And I'll be honest with you. If I were Greg Roman, I would call up not like, I don't know, a Hail Mary, so to speak, but I would dial up a deep ball first play and go and just attack. The very first down that we have the ball, I would just launch it. And I think no one would see it coming because we haven't done it all year, right? Maybe pull out that play that we ran against the Dolphins in 2019. I mean, I would attack that first play, go deep, set a tone. And even if you don't get it, just get after it. Say, we're going to come after you to this game. I would love that. It would be, I'll get so fired up. Particularly if it completes.
And you know what, man? I would say if we're talking about deep shots here, Garnett wants a few more. Alex calling for it first play of the game. I really believe what I meant what I said last week in that throw them to Bateman. Throw the extra ones to Bateman. Do not hit Hollywood all three. If you're going to take 3, 4, or 5 deep shots, they shouldn't all be to Hollywood. In fact, I'd rather have more of them go to Rashad Bateman. You talk about the chemistry. It doesn't have to be there as much when you have a guy with Rashad Bateman's, not just his height, but how tall he plays and his timing and everything like that. Just throw it up in there. Don't overthrow it. Bateman will find it first. Bateman will make a play. And if Darius Williams is on him at 5'8", I don't care how athletic he is or how good he is, good luck defending Rashad Bateman, because he's just as athletic and just as smart. So, yeah, if my final thought would be, if we can force them to put Jalen Ramsey on Bateman, we've won in some kind of way. You know what I mean? We've
That's
won
exactly
in some
what I
kind
was
of way.
thinking. Is like if I were them, I'd put him on Bateman because I think Bateman could completely destroy him.
Yeah, we'll say, hey, so good Mark Andrews. So, hey, all right, let's
Pick
go
your
ahead,
poison.
man.
Pick your
That's
poison.
right. So switching over to the defense, the defensive line of the Ravens, obviously one of the strengths. The Los Angeles Rams have a good offensive line. So this is probably where the most talent lies in this game. With that and the unit we just talked about. The only thing that concerns me, guys, Adafi Owe has not practiced this week with a foot injury, I believe it was. So that would be a tough loss for the Ravens defense. But we're seeing Matabike. We're seeing Broderick Washington. We saw guys fill in last week, McKenzie and Mack, come up big. Like, we're playing well as a upfront unit. Facing this Rams team, like I said, the offensive line is very good. We'll have to give them credit there, guys. So, Garnett, talk about any kind of matchups, or what is this line going to have to do?
This line, man, I just feel like they just got to win those when it's called upon, and they get those 1-on-1 pass rushes on the edge. They just got to make it count, man. With Matthew Stafford, he's a good quarterback. I'm not gonna disrespect him, man. He might put you in some crappy situations, but he can sure as hell throw you out of those as well. So it's a give and take with this guy. But I feel like these guys, if they can just win their 1-on-ones when they get afforded those opportunities, just stay. Their run the LA Rams run game is not super strong. It's coming around, but I'm not really worried about that. But the front seven versus our front four versus their front,
Got to get pass rush on them is what you're saying.
Yeah, exactly. You got to put pressure on them because the fact that like their offense is so time based, especially with Cooper Kupp. It's like he's one of the nastiest route runners. I understand the receiver position is about preference, but when you look at Cooper Kupp, it's just so well rounded, man. You got to respect that. And their offense is so time based to where it's like boom, 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 cut, and then throw. So it's one of the things where with him, the best way with this disrupt this offense is just throw off the timing. So
okay,
yeah.
So where are we going to do that, Alec? Who needs to step up? Where can we create a problem here?
That's a really good question. So if you look at the Rams, they're tied for the second least amount of sacks allowed, and they're doing it on a lot of dropbacks. They've only had 25 sacks. However, as of late, they're laying up a few more sacks, a couple of more double sack days. So maybe there's a chance for the Ravens to be able to create this ability to get a pass rush going. My outside the box thinking on this, and I know Garnett's not going to like this, I could see a slot corner blitz being a good way to get after the quarterback because it is a stupid thing for us to do. Right? I don't know if it's a smart thing to do, but it might be unanticipated and get you a free sack. I don't think we should do it much. I think we basically should do it once is what I'm getting at. And it might get us a sack in a key situation. Definitely be high leverage.
So for me, it's going to have to be Matabike in the pass game, and Justin Houston's going to have to show up because, man, you mentioned the low sack numbers of the Rams. That's a credit to their offensive line, but it's also a credit to what Garnett said, which is the timing of their offense. If you look at their, how aggressive this passing game is, for instance, it's a very aggressive passing game. So how the heck do you have a very aggressive downfield passing attack and still have that low number of sacks? Well, it has to do with the offensive line that we're talking about, but it also has to do with the scheme. It's a Sean McVay team, man. You're gonna have to deal with that. But I think one thing that gives me hope on the line in both the run and the pass game is that it's a familiar wide zone scheme. And let me tell you, the Ravens have a lot of success against that scheme in particular, like you saw with Cleveland. And, the Rams running backs aren't Cleveland's running backs. You don't get much better than Cleveland's offensive line themselves. So when I look at the Derrick Henry game, the Titans, all that other stuff, this is the type of where we can win on this line of scrimmage because it's played to our strengths too, not just their strengths. What they've been doing all year is what we're good at countering on that line of scrimmage. So if you don't mind, guys, I'm going to go ahead and just leave it there and get into the run game so we don't spew into other areas.
Yeah.
Okay, so let's go ahead to when the Rams are running the ball. The Rams running offense is 22nd in the league at 4.1 yards per carry. So it's definitely not a strength of theirs. It is a strength of the Ravens, the run defense, only 3.9 yards per carry. That's right there close to where the Rams are, and that is good for fourth in the league. So when we're talking about the Rams running offense, I don't think that they're going to try to run too much unless like the weather or some other factor really causes them to, because they're not getting their quarterback hit a lot. They're not going to have a lot of success running unless things go off the stat sheet and away from the trends that we've seen all year. Now, of course, they're missing some talent back there. Cam Akers hasn't played all year. They've been relying on Sony Michel. So, Alec, kick us off with this one. The Rams running offense versus the Ravens run D here. It looks like advantage Ravens for first time in the program.
Yeah, it will be advantage Ravens. I mean, Michelle is an okay back. He's doing decent there. Obviously, Akers might get a couple carries. But yeah, obviously he just came back from the Achilles. This will be his first action. Not expecting too much. Henderson's out until maybe the playoffs. Hard to say if he'll be able to play or not. But yeah, I mean, it's a really good matchup for the Ravens. Like you said, our run defense is actually pretty darn stout. They're good against this kind of scheme. I agree with you. I think Matabuke is like a real key to the game. I'm glad he's back from COVID because the interior pass rush, no one knows it better than the Rams. That if you have a really good interior pass rush, it can disrupt everything. That's kind of what we're asking of Matabuke. And yeah, I think there's definitely a chance here. I will say it's going to be an unseasonably warm day. It might be raining in the morning, but it actually might be okay by game time. I'm paying attention to this because I'm going. I'm trying to figure it out.
Right.
Yeah, I'm trying to figure out we're trying to figure out tailgate situation and all that good stuff. But it might end up raining in the morning, so it might be okay there. It might be a little wet. I don't know, but it is going to be warm, and it might make it windy. I can't remember the wind situation, but it's like 60 degrees. It's jumping up out of nowhere from one day. So we'll see how that plays out. But yeah, I think the run game again. This is a situation where if they, for some reason, do run, I don't think they will run often. You can get in good advantage situations.
Yeah, one thing I will say about the weather, though, all seriousness, even though it's not like cold and all that other stuff, it's still going to be a lot different from Southern California. Not temperature wise, you know what I mean? You're talking about you come here and what the heck is this? It's humid and wet,
right?
And
yeah,
cloudy and what world universe is this? Yeah. Welcome to Baltimore in December, man. It could be or January, early January. It could be anything, man. From 0 degrees to 60 degrees and humid. So that's pretty wild. But Garnett, yeah, this Rams run game. Sony Michel isn't a home run hitting back, Garnett. I can't see them using the run game too much in this game, unless, of course, the game flow dictates it and the Rams have a big lead. But while the game's competitive, can you see the Rams using this game? Can you find a way for them to be successful, or is this all Ravens right here?
Yeah, I think it's all Ravens, but with the Rams though, it's more of just I'm going to run just to set up for the pass. This is not the TG3 era, the Todd Gurley era anymore, where they concentrate using the run to get them by. Now they got all the talent, the arsenals at the receiving position. So a lot of things they do is just to keep, I guess you can call them dummy runs if you want to call them that, just to set up for the pass. So I feel like we're gonna do if we can just, like I said, I'm starting to use this phrase a lot more. Just if we can make them fight the chains, and then when they do run the ball and get those crucial stops there, it makes it easier for us to know, okay, this is definitely a pass situation, to where now we can okay, we know Cooper Kupp is going to run an 8-yard, curl route. You know what I mean? It's those situations where we just get in a rhythm of understanding what they like to do, what their philosophy is. So I think, as crazy as I'm about to say, I think our defense can really stand toe to toe in certain areas, which would actually make us more worthy of than what we are.
All right, so give them to me, Garnett. I don't care if they're in the pass or the run game.
Yeah.
Give me an advantage.
So I think, to be honest with you, like their line is, I don't think their line is all that good. Like Whitworth is respected, but how old is he? Like 45? I'm joking. Like
It's
about
40. Yeah, 40.
yeah, about 40. Like it's one of the things where I'm just going against, I get it, age and experience versus youth and just, real, I would say really good, but just youth and just great talent. I just don't get it. I think Houston will win that battle. If you would say, 10 times, I would say Houston wins that like 7 out of 10. And that's just me. But I just think that we have a nice matchup across the board. Now with the corners, it's a little tricky. So, but one of those things where if we can just get home and disrupt the time, like I said, it makes it so much easier. And I'm hoping to God that Wink is putting these corners in these secondary in the right situation, in the perfect situation, so that it will, like, they will benefit from that. Not putting them in a man zero blitz or a cover, just in a weird situation. I understand we're getting our boys back from COVID, but just
I get what you're saying.
Yeah,
I get
just
what
keep
you're
on
saying.
doing, yeah.
And I think with some people underestimate, like you talk about keeping them behind the chains or staying ahead of the chains. That's something I always harp on too, because the playbook shrinks. The plays that are available to you on 3rd and 6 are more. There are more of them than if it's 3rd and 9. So if you can force them in a 3rd and 9 instead of a 3rd and 6, their playbook shrinks. The number of plays they can call shrink. The number of plays they have confidence in shrink. It all kind of multiplies and snowballs a little bit. So yeah, keeping them behind the chains or ahead of the chains is always important, no doubt about it. But I feel like we've already transitioned into like the once again the last part of the show is the least pleasant, and that's the Rams passing game versus the Ravens pass defense. The Rams passing offense, 8.0 yards per carry. That is a lofty number, 8 yards every time they try to pass the ball, whether it's complete or not. That's 3rd in the league. The Ravens pass defense, dead last, 32nd, 8.2 yards per allowed. So you thought that 8 number was big, fellas. The Ravens are allowing 8.2 after that, 525-yard day against the street guys, that the Ravens basically picked up on street free agency. Here we go. Like, I don't even know how to set this one up. Alec, go.
Sure. I mean, the good news is the street free agents shouldn't be what we're leaning on. Instead, we've got the illustrious 4th and 5th depth cornerback. Yeah, which, I mean, certainly better, because they're actually on the 53-man roster and not just picking up off the street. They'll have that better communication, you'd hope. And they got some skill there, right? Like, Jimmy's not what he used to be, but on a snap count all year, maybe he'll be able to like take on a real full workload today. Then you got Westry, who's shown flashes. He's raw, but he has a lot of physical ability. Tavon might be available. Okay, like we're doing all right here, because they have 3 wide receivers that you're mostly concerned about. You're worried about Kupp, Odell Beckham Jr., and Van Jefferson. Their 4th, 5th wide receiver, not that great. They're not anything to write home about. So, okay, we've got 3 corners, maybe 4 if you count Stevens and you do some movement with Jefferson. I don't know, but that's what you got right now. So I think that could work. That could play. It's going to be tough. Don't get me wrong. It's going to take a whole team effort to mess up their timing and just really high leverage plays where you're just going to have to execute. But I think there's a path, because I'm not afraid of Higbee at all. I know that he took the world by storm a little bit a year or 2 back, but I don't think he's really all that, to be honest. And they lost their other tight end, who wasn't really known for his pass catching anyways. But they're I mean, after those 3 guys, I don't think there's too much to worry about. I mean, Michelle can kind of catch the ball out of the backfield. Obviously, Cam Akers is somebody to worry about, but again, first game back. So there's a path that if everyone stays healthy, that is available, and they play above average for themselves, we might be all right. That's the path.
one of the qualities, Garnett, of this Rams team, and really a Sean McVay team, and basically they do the same thing a lot on defense, more than the Ravens. Same philosophy on offense is that the same 11 guys are out there like a lot. a lot more compared to us. They're in 11 personnel, like Alex said, with the 3 wide receivers and Higbee at tight end and the 1 running back. And that's their, they're multiple formations, but they're not going to go a lot of 2 tight end. They're not going to go a lot of 5 receiver. They have a basic personnel group with the exact 11 guys on offense. I kind of look at that, especially from a Ravens fan perspective, as an advantage, Garnett, because we've seen how much a nice rotation and keeping guys fresh, and you got guys stepping up left and right, and the team gets all fired up when this guy gets a sack, and got guys fresh receivers, tight ends. You beat them up for a while, then you spread them out. Like, I don't know. Like, is that an advantage that the Ravens know exactly what they're going up against?
Yeah, I think it's a really big. It could be a big advantage depending on how we look at it, but it really just dictates on how fast the tempo is going. To be honest with you, that's how I somewhat look at it when it comes to like just being able to just rotate in and out if they stay in a certain 11 personnel formation. I'll not say formation, but 11 personnel sets. So
right, they can speed it up or slow it down when they want to because they're not subbing.
Exactly. So that it's like it's a really, it could be a good thing for us and it could be a bad thing for us at the same time because it's not allowing us to what's the word I'm looking for, to
match up.
match
to
up.
get our players in up. Yep.
Match up. So it's one of those things where like I said, it's a pro and con to everything, especially to that situation. And then the one thing that I think, especially with Everett not being there, I'm just curious on who's gonna be that guy, that the other guy across. Is it so Westridge will be back, correct? Just making
Yeah, I
sure.
mean Westry and Smith on the outside, like Alex said. So, I
Yeah.
want you to answer this for me, Garnett, and then
Right.
Alec. Is Jimmy Smith capable of playing 80% plus snaps this game, or is that? I mean, or are we just like saying that's not going to happen? We're going to have to play another corner here.
I think so. I think he'd be able to play 80%. Like he's been fresh all season. Like there's no way in hell I think a drop off is that tremendous to a player. Like it's crazy. We just seen last year we brought in what's the guy's name that used to be a Green Bay corner, but he was like 35, 37 years old, and we depended on him to play ball. I can't think of his name.
Trayvon Williams.
Trayvon Williams, like literally, when I heard his age, like, holy crap, he's been in the league this long. It's still balling. So it's one of the things where, as much as we, crap on Jimmy for his injuries, but he's fresh. I believe Jimmy. Dude, I got his jersey right here. So
I'm not buying it. I want to see if Alec agrees with me. Like everybody's saying, okay, well, we'll have Jimmy on one side and Westry on the other this week. Like, I can't see Jimmy Smith playing more than 30 snaps.
You don't
Alec?
think so?
No, I don't, man. I want to hear what Alec has to say.
Okay.
I think he's going to man up and do it. I really do. I mean, it's one of those, I get what you're saying. He hasn't done it all year, but I mean, that's kind of the rationale for why he's going to do it now. Is like, this is the whole reason I think that he's been on the pitch count, is like, in case they need to lean on him for a game or two. I look, if I were the Ravens, and of course I'm not, but if I were, unless I knew something about his injuries that isn't public, I'm gonna run him until he's dead, basically. Like, I'm gonna run him until I think I can't anymore. I'm gonna assume that I can run the whole game. That's me.
Okay.
Like,
Yes.
unless we see a fall off, I'm not like running till his dead's like a kind of bad connotation. But I'm just like, I'm gonna see how long he can play. Like, I don't like our backups.
Jason, Alec, I'm glad you said so. Jason, I have a question for you. So are you willing to go with Robert Jackson or whoever else we have on there over Jimmy? That's the only thing I'm saying. Like, it's one of the things where we're talking about how fresh he's been all season, and would you rather go with Robert Jackson over Jimmy? I'm not saying because I'm a Jimmy fan, but I'm just one of the things where I understand that he's old, long in the tooth, and the injuries, but the reason why he missed a couple of games also is because he had a child. So it's one of the things where, behind this, it's
so he had sleepless nights. We didn't think about that.
I would say, Garnett, that I haven't seen Jimmy Smith play 100% of snaps at cornerback, and I can't tell you how long. It's different than safety. And I haven't seen him really be able to, stay healthy consistently for like a couple of games in a row without him holding something. And man, I just, as far as keeping up with this Rams track style offense where he's going to be covering deep routes all the time. Is he really in that kind of shape? Because he hasn't played that kind of football in years, and he's 30 whatever years old. So that's where my thinking comes from. Of course, I'd rather have 100% Jimmy Smith over Robert Jackson, but I think Jimmy is going to go from 100% at the start of the game to about 50% pretty darn quick. And at that point, you're better off with Robert Jackson or anybody who can run full speed, or can keep up with Van Jefferson, whoever he's going to be matched up on. So it'll be interesting to follow up on that, guys. Be interesting.
For sure. I mean, the only the Ravens know is conditioning. Like, so ideally, you would think they have a plan, and they would. I think what we're speculating about, they already know the answer to.
Yeah.
So
we'll here's my fun. Well, I think Brandon Stevens is going to ask me to do a lot of that, and I think you're going to see Geno Stone and Chuck Clark at safety. And then, you're going to have Brandon Stevens matching up with the bigger receiver, in this case, Van Jefferson. The worst, for lack of a better word, the worst. I mean, OBJ is still kind of explosive, Beckham. So, yeah, we need to go around again on this pass game again, though, because it is by far the biggest mismatch, and we're going to have to find a way to limit it. So I'm going to start with Alec on this one, actually. We saw what the Ravens did to Devontae Adams. Does Cooper Kupp get this same kind of treatment, or do you just say, hey, we're going to let Cooper Kupp get his 10 catches, 120 yards, maybe a little more, and we're going to try to shut down everything else around it? Because I know your co-host, Peter, had brought that idea up. How do you attack the man himself, Cooper Kupp, here?
Yeah, I think that's a really good and tough question. I think I'm okay with empty calories, right? I'm okay with saying you can get some yards here and there as long as we don't let up a touchdown. Now,
some between the 30s action or whatever.
Yeah, and I guess maybe what I'm thinking is we try to play the Tim Duncan style between the 30s, like you said, and then maybe when it gets close to the red zone, you take away Kupp. That's when you take him away. I could see that, a little bit of a blend. But I think that's one of the biggest mysteries of the game for me, is just like how the secondary is going to scheme against it. Obviously, we're shorthanded and we're not as talented as we would hope to be, but using what they have, they might be able to slow him down. I think Odell can still play. Odell scares me more than probably most Ravens fans at this point. And Van Jefferson's good too. So I don't want to take away too many resources if it means those guys get freebies,
Okay, so Garnett, how about you? Cooper Kupp plan, man. What do we got?
I don't know. I don't even know where to begin with this, man. Like, Jimmy West. It's like it's a weird situation.
How about Tavon? Tavon can, like, at least route running wise, he's probably the shiftiest.
But here's the thing: would you rather have Tavon on, let's just say, Odell in the slot, or this is the trickiest question of all time to me.
Yeah, they move Kupp around too, Garnett. They move him. He's going to be like Devontae Adams in the slot, on the outside, on the left, on the right. So, like, I'm thinking Tavon is, like, whether we double or not, I'm thinking Tavon's going to see a lot of them. I don't know.
Exactly, and that's my thing about with these receivers, man. Like with Van Jefferson coming out of Florida, man. The one thing that he rivals Jerry Jeudy when it comes to the route running. Like all three of these guys are mastered route runners. So it's one of the things. It's a nasty situation to be in with as a corner in the slot. So I feel that
none of them are small either, Garnett.
None.
They're all 6 foot, like 6 foot, great route runners.
Exactly. So it's like they got the reach. They got everything. They got all the tools. They might not be super burners, but they got enough speed to, like, once they cut and they catch you in a bad position, they're leaving you. So it's a really tricky situation. I feel like the same way how you said it, Jason, about how when it comes to the Green Bay, you treat it like that. That's the best way you can do it, man. This is the weirdest thing about our defense. Yeah, we give up the most big plays, but it's the weirdest thing. We're like the number one red zone defense or something like
third down. I mean, third down of red zones, we've been good all year.
Yeah,
I don't know what the current numbers are, but that's been our strength.
Exactly. So it's the weirdest thing in the world what I'm about to say, but I'm not, like, I think what Alex said, like, just, hey, you take, empty calories, but once you get to the red zone, like your butt is mine, basically. So it's like we that's why I feel confident. It's like that's why I say it's the weirdest situation with this team. It's like every weirdest thing about this team is just so special this year, and I mean that in a very special way. That it's just like
Yeah,
we give
unique.
we give up the most yards, but once you get in the red zone, we shut you down. So it's like it's one of those things where I feel like if we get in that situation where we're in the red zone, I think we have a chance to do what we need to do. So
Okay.
yeah,
So the other guy I want to ask you about is Matt Stafford. Stafford threw 3 interceptions last week, and Alec I know had this mentioned on his show, but it was the first drive of that game as well. He almost threw a 4th interception. The Vikings players looked like something that's happened to the Ravens a lot this year. Just dropped the interception. So Matt Stafford versus Wink Martindale. Now I expect because Stafford's been so good against the blitz, and because we've seen Wink back off the blitz big time, like Arnett, I know you must be proud of Wink for. I mean, he committed to it this year, man. For a while, we didn't think he was going to, but he committed to backing off and no winking and half winking when, normally he'd be full go. What do you think about Matt Stafford? Is he going to give us a couple of opportunities in this game? Can a guy like Matt Abike get to Matt Stafford and make him have some bad throws? Garnett, what are you thinking here? Matt Stafford, could he have a bad day? Could this be a guy that we could work on? I mean, good quarterback, but he's prone to playing up and down, it seems like.
exactly. He's a box of chocolate quarterback, man. Like that's why I said earlier in the show. It's like one of the things where he'll put himself in a rut, but he's capable of getting himself out of a rut, man. And my biggest thing is we have the most horrible ratio. What is it? I don't know the actual number of the turnover. What like turnover to giveaway takeaway ratio? I don't
All right, well,
know it.
don't bring it up, man. Don't bring it up then.
I'm sorry, but I know
Bad.
it's the worst. It's
It's
the
bad.
worst though. Yeah,
It's bad.
I don't know the actual. So it's one of the things where like literally. So I got a funny. Ever since Chuck Clark ran into the goalpost last year, that's where it really went sour when it comes to the turnovers. I don't know if y'all caught on to that.
Really? No, I didn't see any of that.
You remember? You don't remember the halftime? Like right before
Yeah.
halftime to Cleveland?
I think it was Indy. I thought it was
No,
Indianapolis.
it was Cleveland. Like that's when Baker
Okay,
threw the Hail
yeah.
Mary.
Baker through the hail. Yeah.
Yeah. So ever since then, Chuck has not been able to catch an interception since then. So he
No,
might need to run into another goalpost for that to happen.
I see where the jokes came from.
Yeah.
So
But-
Alec, what's your match? Oh, go ahead, Garnett.
No, but I'm saying like if it's very possible, like he's gonna give you opportunities. Can we catch them? That's all I can say. Like it's that simple. It's that simple.
How about you, Alec? Matt Stafford. What's your thoughts on him versus this Ravens defense?
Matt Stafford has some of the most comebacks in NFL, like right now, for a quarterback. But that's just that he gets himself into situations where he needs to come back, right? So I think he can be had. I know this Ravens defense has not been able to generate interceptions. I don't know if that's scheme or bad luck, but it's been bad this year. Almost no interceptions, almost no fumbles. Turnover differential is horrid. If we had a turnover differential that we're used to in Baltimore, we'd have more wins for sure. Undeniable. Too many close games not to. Now, I mean, Stafford is on a little bit of a cold streak, right? He played like crap. There's a chance he could do it again. I don't know if it will be us causing it or just self-inflicted wounds, though, to be honest.
Gotcha. Yeah, that's why I say my Matabike prediction. This is where I'm hoping that he can take over and just get in his face, because that's when, Matt Stafford's a little older too. He's a tough guy, but it's just natural. The older you get, the less averse to hanging in there you get, especially in a game where you got Super Bowl hopes. Matt Stafford better have protecting himself somewhere in his mind, especially if he starts getting hit a couple of times. So, yeah, I think we can throw off the timing of Stafford a few times, but mostly he's going to be in rhythm. And it's just what kind of chances he wants to take against this Ravens defense that, again, it looks like we're going to be missing Anthony Averett this week. So no Marlon Humphrey, no Marcus Peters, and no Anthony Averett, the top 3 corners. Like Alex said, at least we got number 4 this week, Chris Westry. So we're making some progress here. We're at least got number 4. But hey, final thoughts on the game. Garnett, go ahead and start us off. Could be about the game. You could sing a song here as sometimes you do. Give us, what do we have? Sergeant West, sir, please give us your best you got.
So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna do a thing that I should have been doing before this game. Probably gonna go to church get my life together. Hopefully, pray to God, like, hey man, you got it. All those sweet things, then come back home, cook something beautiful, and just hopefully it's not the last supper. Did it? All right,
Okay,
okay.
all right.
What I did there? All right, okay. In a serious note, uh, if we say, let's just say we get the ball, we already talked about just spread them out, help out Huntley, pray to God that you can stop 99 with everybody on the front line and also with, whoever's there with Von Miller and Lloyd. But it's Floyd, but it's one of the things where it's just help yourself by creating opportunities for, for Tyler Huntley, man. Just spread it out, do a couple RPOs, see what you get from there. I'll let Alec still. I'm not going to steal his thunder, but just don't be afraid to go. Take more vertical shots deep. That I'll stick with that part. But on defense, just you know, put Matthew Stafford under pressure as much as possible with 4 at the beginning. See where it gets you, and then call it up. Call up the blitzes from here and there. Do a slot blitz like Alex said. That's very a genius move what Alex said, and I pat him on the back for that one because that would be a smart thing to do with this defense. And hopefully, their special team is good. We didn't even talk about their special teams, but we got to stop them on special teams as well because the Powell kid he has some burners as well.
Yeah, special teams luckily it's not a part of our show because we know the Ravens are always going to be up there no matter who they face. So, it's a really good thing. Like last week with Green Bay, or 2 weeks ago with Green Bay, it almost made a difference in that game. Alec, I like the slot blitz, by the way, because especially if Kupp is in the slot. So if you're following my thinking, if Cooper Kupp's man blitzes you, who are you looking for? Cooper Kupp. You know that the throw is probably going to go that way. It'll give Tavon, if he's in the slot, a chance to get his hands up. It'll also give people a really good idea of where the ball is going to go to, give them a head start. Maybe you take away a couple of targets that Cooper Kupp may have had because you're wearing him out and he's getting these extra catches for 3-4 yards where he's just getting slammed. Alec, I like that idea. But aside from that, or you can expand on that, what are your final thoughts for this game, my friend?
Glad you like the idea. I'm starting to like it too. I think the big thing for the Ravens here is that you got to go deep, like we mentioned earlier, and we got to stay aggressive. I think this is a game for 4th downs. I think it's a game for maybe even going for 2 points, but definitely a game for 4th downs. I think if you play 4-down football and you go with that intention at some points, that could actually lead to a lot of explosiveness and better production. So I want 4th downs. I would love to see some more hurry up. Those are the things. I mean, I think it's all in the offense, in my opinion. If the defense is able to make a stand, that's bonus. But let's assume that the defense is going to let up about 10 points every 2 drives, right? Touchdown here, field goal there. Let's just assume that. The Ravens need to be better than that. They need to get 2 touchdowns and then sneak them, or they need to get a turnover or a stop. That's the way. The Ravens need to, like Peter put it really well, they can't get a lap behind, right? They need to get a lap ahead. So
Okay.
That's the big key.
Yeah, I can see the crowd feeding off of that too, because this town is just like anxious mode. Almost preparing for the worst because of what's happened to us this year, the worst. So it's like if the Ravens give these fans a true chance to be like, hey, we're back, baby. Look at Tyler Huntley. We're throwing the ball. We're looking good. I think that the fans can work themselves up in this game. So, yeah, Garnett's tried and true. Get on that board first. Touchdown on the first drive would really be a big one in this game because the fans need just need a little encouragement. After 4 losses in a row, it's tough to come out as a fan base and expect your fan base to be on their feet a 3rd down, the first drive. The Ravens are going to have to work us up for that.
Look, man, it's very simple how to be a fan in the stands. You make noise when the Rams are on offense, and you're silent when the Ravens are on offense, except when they score or get like a first down while they're getting up to the line. That's it. It's very simple.
Right.
You know what?
Emotions.
They're also
just like noise, no noise. That's it.
There also should be no war in this world. But you know what? There's always going to be a war somewhere, and there's always going to be some old lady or a non-football fan sitting on their hands And they're
The person in front
they're
of me at
humans.
the I think it was the Colts game. Like, hated
Oh,
it.
we suck. I just got this free ticket. He's coming there to boo. The people that go there to boo. I'm sure you've seen them too, man.
Right.
Yeah.
So yeah, the Ravens got it. If everybody could be a fan like Alec, that would be great. But they're not, man. We're going to need to fire these fans up a little bit. As great as our fans of Baltimore are, it's a great fan base. But 4 losses in a row, and all the injuries that we faced, and Lamar looking like he has this week, man. Garnett, we're a little, as a fan base, it feels like you got your pulse on it as well as anybody. It feels like we're a little like resigned. Like you even said at the beginning, whatever happens, happens.
Yeah.
I feel like a lot of people are there, man.
Yeah. I'm just in that mode where, like, bro, like this is one of those seasons where we're gonna look back at it, and either we're gonna just talk about it or we're gonna just ignore the season. Like, this is like the most interesting season I ever seen in my life, man. I
Right.
never, as you know, we've all been Raging fans since like basically the inception. So it's one of those things where, have you ever seen a season like this ever since?
No, and you probably won't again. It's just been the perfect storm of everything, man.
Everything, like literally, I've been in denial. Like, where I'm watching the game, there's no way we're winning this game. And then fourth quarter, like 3 minutes on the clock, wow, we're really about to win this game. Like, it's like the weirdest thing where we've seen that all season. And the one thing that I want to say real quick, that we went from playing, I understand we just played, we just got smoke checked by Cincy and all that, but we went from, I think we only had 1 interception or 1 turnover in the past, like, how many games other than ever since the Cleveland game. So it's one of the things where we're going against a guy that literally is going to give you shots, and that would really
just catch them.
That's all. Like that's the thing that bothers me like so much, is like, he's gonna give you something, just don't turn it down. Just take the gift.
Yeah. Alec mentioned earlier that interceptions is a luck factor, and he didn't know if it was this, that, or the other. Well, I got to tell you, Alec, it's almost, you can't be lucky to only have 6, which is what I think we have. It's like that. You're going to get more than that many chances. If you catch half of them, you're going to get more than 6. There's teams with no playmakers that have double 6 because we've just pissed away that many opportunities of turnovers. The forced fumbles disappeared. All of this has disappeared. So yeah, like you can't just say, oh, it's unlucky, we only got 6 turnovers. No, unlucky would be, if it was just luck based, you would still have more than that. Like, some of it's on us too. So man, it's just depressing, bro. It's just depressing. To me, it speaks to the personnel and the lack of playmakers that we have on this defense, especially in the secondary. We have good, solid players. We have excellent tacklers. We have good communicators. When we're healthy, we have 2 of the best corners in the game, but only one of them is an elite playmaker, and that's Marcus Peters. Other than that, there's nobody, so that should be a priority in the offseason. It will be on my draft boards and stuff like that. So, fellas, we ran a little late, just getting a little freestyle in there, man, but it was good conversations, I thought.
Yeah, lots of fun.
Perfect conversation. I think we hit on the topics pretty darn well. I think a very interesting topics that I think hopefully you guys that are watching caught your eye, especially with the how the Rams do business, because that's not being talked about enough. Also, how we should hopefully go against their 11 personnel. Hopefully, you guys are very interested in this conversation that we had, like just freestyling.
Yeah, Alec, thanks a lot for joining us, man. Hope you had a good time today and all that.
Oh yeah, it was a lot of fun. I enjoyed joining you guys again.
Yeah, man. We love you, dog.
We love you, bro. Jake,
you
get better. Jake's got sore throat, so he couldn't talk. And Jake does not know sign language, so he could not do sign language. I asked him this specifically. Yeah, well,
or the watchers at that point.
Yeah. Right. Or he could have held up cards. But yeah, I thought he sent us one text. Jake expects Ramsey on Andrews. He expects Ramsey on Andrews. So.
Man, we should have read off his test. He literally gave a full summary, like no crap. We should do that for him.
All right, this is what Jake Vogel fans, here we go. Woke up with a sore throat. Thought it would be better tonight. I'm on the struggle wagon. Would you like to go on without me? Blah, blah, blah. Rams defense will key in on Mark Andrews. Jake also says Ramsey will cover Andrews. He believes that Darius Williams will cover Hollywood Brown. That would be a really good matchup of quickness, Jake. I see where you're coming from where there. They might put Williams on Hollywood. I could see that. Bateman and Rest get opportunity to eat. That goes along with what we were saying too. So he's on us, man. Spread that ball out. I mentioned how the Vikings did that to the Rams last week. They were getting targets from all over the place. Rams safeties are good. Elias, they're star players. They are a strong roster. And lastly, he says Cooper Kupp is nearly unstoppable. OBJ is solid. And we dodged a bullet without Robert Woods. Very true. Robert Woods, underrated football player.
Yeah.
He thinks Van Jefferson could have a great game and get lost in the shuffle. And the last word that he wrote, Garnett, do you see it?
Yes, sir.
What is the last word?
Rams.
He says Rams, period.
Sad.
Yeah, sad world. I mean, I didn't pick against them. I wouldn't pick against the Ravens if we were doing like an NFL pick show. Not like nobody. I'm going Ravens, man. Ravens in this game. Ravens.
I don't know. Watch that show and see if that this guy's lying or not.
Hey, man.
One guy here definitely said the Ravens, and I think
one guy did say the Ravens. Yes,
currently.
That's awesome, man.
All right, football family. Waste your time there at the end. Hope you enjoyed the show. Hope you enjoyed the great people I have on the show. Garnett, Alec, and of course our buddy Jake. Hope that he gets better. So everybody's sick now, man. Hope Jake's feeling all right. But all right, fellas, say goodbye to our football family. Thank you, everybody.
Peace.
See ya.